In today's video, I would like to tell you a thrilling story of the Ezego of Iheala, the Nigerian billionaire who sold his soul for wealth. This is a story of a man of many sides, Chief Victor Nnamdi Okafor, aka Udo Bunch, aka the young billionaire. He would have been a billionaire in Africa, all smile dance on his short cheek, and situated by a not too bushy mustache. He was fair-skinned, spoke softly. He was still very young at the time, but he was well known and well respected in Nigerian business circle. Chief Victor Nnamdi Okafor, the late Ezego, is the first son and a native of Zoakwa in Iheala in Anambra State. Was born December 25, 1964. He attended Zoakwa Primary School for his primary school but was forced to drop out of Abbott Boys High School in Iheala for his secondary school and eventually went to industry. His childhood was traumatic, and when he was arrested for being a member of a robbery gang that showed Onitsha traders hell on earth, his own father reportedly disowned him. Although some of his gang mates were apprehended and sentenced, Ezego fled to Umuneni village where his enraged father allegedly drove him out. He then traveled to his mother's village, Umuduru. However, things did not go well for him at Umuduru, so he moved to Lagos in 1989 to join a mentor. What happened after remains a mystery, but by the time the world heard of Ezego again, he was already a multi-millionaire and one of the Lagos creme de la creme. He built the Ezego shopping complex on Allen Avenue in Lagos and the Ezego Plaza on the Muritala Mohammed International Airport Road in Abuja. He operated and managed one of the Nigerian's largest electronics store from this location. Ezego constructed homes, villas and mansions all over the world, including one made entirely of glass. All of his real estate outside of Iheala was valued around ₦500 million in 1999, with the marble used for the walls imported from Italy. The Proli mansion that served as his country home in Iheala was worth another $500 million. Ezego had one of the biggest private car garages in Africa at the time he was alive. He was a car enthusiast who was constantly stocking his garages in Iheala and Lagos with new models. He once spent 14 million on two Porsche cars from Montrend owned by Tayo Ayeni. He married Loretta Nkechi, a princess from Akata in Imo State, who was fair complexioned and pretty, and the couple had 8 children. Princess Nkechi moved from Ajawu Estate, where she has been living with her husband, to Lekki after his death. According to Nigerian Business Guide, she was bringing her husband's business empire to a new height with her children studying at top university around the world as of December 2013. Ezego's first son, by the way, was born to a Japanese mother. Apart from his wife Nkechi, he fathered children with other women. Ezego left Lagos on the 23rd of December as scheduled for the southeastern region of Nigeria. He sped away in a convoy of 6 for his most untentaneous cars: a Lincoln Navigator 1999 model, a limousine, a blue Porsche, a Lexus Jeep and a Cherokee Jeep, and a new Honda were among them. The curious thing about that fateful trip was that Ezego would have usually traveled to Enugu or Port Harcourt, but then be driven to Iheala in a convoy. However, in the high number of people killed in plane crashes during that time, span led him to change his mind. For the Mughal, the result was catastrophic. Ezego wanted to get behind the wheel of his own Lexus Jeep in the convoy and drive himself all the way from Lagos to Iheala for unknown reasons. However, somewhere along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, the first problem surfaced. The trouble began when the Cherokee Jeep engine failed, but Ezego was in a rush and couldn't bear the thought of missing his flight and being late. As a result, he wanted to continue managing the Jeep for as long as he could. However, by the time the Jeep arrived in Asaba, Delta State, the car had completely broken down in the oil state. Things had stopped being amusing at this stage. Ezego was visibly distressed. However, you are aware of the dangers that Nigerian roads pose, so Ezego did not want to leave his prize-value car vulnerable to robbers in the middle of nowhere in Asaba. However, Ezego was said to have insisted on towing the broken-down vehicle alone, with him driving the Lexus pulling the Cherokee. As a result, he was in front while another of his boys was driving the Cherokee. No one could disagree with the boss, so they continued on their journey until they came to a fork in the road between Ozubulu and Okija on the Onitsha Owerri road. They were only 2 kilometers from Ezego's hometown in Iheala, Anambra State, and their final destination at the time when death decided to reveal his dreadful figure. While driving down a steep hill, Ezego allegedly collided with a weakened section of the road and obstructively stepped on the brakes. The driver of the Cherokee behind him was caught off guard, and because he was unprepared for the sudden stop, slammed his vehicle into Ezego's flashy Lexus, sending the multi-millionaire tumbling into a deep ditch alongside the lane. According to other sources, the towing chain between the two jeeps broke, causing the Cherokee in the back to ram into Ezego's Lexus, causing him to lose control and crash into that terrible ditch. His convoy was thrown into chaos as soon as this occurred. Those in the convoy made frantic and futile attempts to pull him out of the ditch and get him medical help as soon as possible. When they eventually got Ezego out of the ditch, he had a deep gash in his face, and his face was heavily puffed up, disfiguring his otherwise attractive face. He was rushed to the nearest hospital of Our Lady of Lourdes, where Ezego has allegedly made a donation of 15 million naira a few years before the accident. Things quickly deteriorated, and to make matters worse, there was no doctor on duty. Ezego was already bleeding from his mouth, experiencing internal bleeding, and was in shock by the time a medical doctor arrived. All efforts to resuscitate him were futile. His family members recommended that he be transferred to a better equipped hospital in Port Harcourt right away. His story became hazy at this stage because it was unclear whether he died on his way to Port Harcourt or while being prepared for a flight to Lagos from Port Harcourt. Ezego died on Boxing Day, December 26. He was just 34 years old at the time. Even after Ezego's death, the scandal surrounding his life continued. Barnabas Igwe, his lawyer and the person in charge of carrying out his will, was assassinated alongside with his wife Abigail on September 2, 2002, just 3 years after Ezego's death. As a result, Ezego's will was never read, and the beneficiaries are still unknown. However, his community is yet to forget him. Those who were old enough to remember him still miss him sorely, while those who are teenagers now merely have an idea of who he was. After Ezego's death, the same fate that befell many African entrepreneurs crept in, and his vast business empire collapsed. In December 2013, Yes International revealed that Ezego's empire has collapsed, and the majestic house he built at his hometown of Uzoakwa in Iheala was a ghostly shadow of his former self. For instance, the flowers and the street light that hitherto beautified this popular Ezego road have either been vandalized or overgrown by weeds. Even some parts of the road have been washed away by erosion. The popular entrance to the inviting Ezego crescent has also lost its beauty and glory, and the heavenly trees and flowers that used to welcome visitors are gradually dying off. His magnificent country home, 15 years after his death, is seriously caring for a new look. It is also fast falling apart and begging for attention. In fact, some parts of the glass house have started falling off and decaying. Even the uncompleted duplexes inside are still the way he left them. So guys, this is a true life story of the popular Ezego of Iheala. If you enjoyed this video, please do not forget to subscribe to my channel, like my video, and share this video to amazing people all around you. Until I come your way next time, I remain your dearest host, Gist with Vivian. Bye guys.